Good evening and welcome to the main news bulletin this Thursday evening. We're broadcasting live from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. My name is Arthur Sevens and I'll be joined by Pisa Jemunika on the sign language desk. These are the stories making your headlines. President Mnangagwa affirms Zimbabwe's commitment to global partnerships built on mutual respect. National hero Brigadier General retired Jonathan Hungwe to be laid to rest at the National Heroes Acre this Friday. In other news, police investigations point to an inside job in the Bulawayo Mukuru robbery. And in sport, Bulawayo Giants collide as the Castle Lager PSL returns this weekend. That and more in sports. But first to our leading story. President Emmerson Mnangagwa says Zimbabwe is ready to welcome investments and partnerships from across the world, which are fair and align with the country's interests. He said this when he addressed diplomats accredited to Zimbabwe at an event dubbed New Year's Reception for the Diplomatic Corps in Harare this Thursday. Our diplomatic correspondent, Josephine Mugio, has more.
As diplomats accredited to Zimbabwe met with President Emmerson Mnangagwa here at the Harare International Conference Center this Thursday, it was all about reaffirming the partnerships between the countries represented by the envoys and Zimbabwe. It is the annual tradition for this reception to be held, and as President Mnangagwa spoke to the envoys, he noted the steady progress of Zimbabwe's economy in 2025.
The past year was marked by steady progress in our national development agenda. My administration is firmly on course towards the realization of Vision 2030. The ongoing reforms to further strengthen macroeconomic stability, improve the investment climate, enhance transparency, and promote private sector-led growth are yielding positive results. The National Development Strategy number 2, launched last year, prioritizes accelerated industrialization, infrastructure development, food and energy security, digital innovation and value addition. It is around these central themes that our respective jurisdictions should deepen cooperation.
Zimbabwe is always open for investments, but as stated by President Mnangagwa this Thursday, there is need for fairness and transparency to ensure that Zimbabweans fully benefit from what they have.
Our message is clear and remains consistent, and that is Zimbabwe is open for business. We stand ready to welcome investment and partnerships from across the world, which are fair, transparent, and align with our national socio-economic political interests. Benefits for all our peoples are central and guide our policies towards this cooperation.
Climate change has affected the globe in so many ways, and it has affected the performance of agriculture. President Mnangagwa called for a more deliberate policy on ensuring climate financing.
The prevalence of climate change-induced natural disasters call for greater cooperation towards mitigation and adaptation strategies that should build greater resilience, especially at community levels. Going forward, we call for strengthened multilateral cooperation, predictable climate financing, and equitable solutions that recognize the vulnerabilities of developing nations to the vagaries of climate change.
President Mnangagwa used the platform to reaffirm Zimbabwe's candidature for a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. He also expressed his gratitude for the partnerships between Zimbabwe and countries across the globe.
We are grateful to those countries who have endorsed our bid. We count on the invaluable support of your respective governments for our candidature. Zimbabwe stands ready to serve within the United Nations Security Council with dedication, integrity, and resolute obligation to a more peaceful, just, and secure world.
As he interacted with the diplomats, President Mnangagwa said they are builders of bridges. Hence, Zimbabwe expects them to present objective information to their capitals. Josephine Mugio, CBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe is receiving positive feedback from various diplomatic missions accredited to the country for its engagement and re-engagement's thrust in a bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council.
The year 2025 saw Zimbabwe's exports surging past the $9 billion United States mark, stemming from engagements with strategic economies as the country continues to advance its Zimbabwe's open for business mantra. Now, from economic growth, the country is also seeking to play an integral role in advancing global peace efforts. And in late 2025, Harare launched its bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. Engaging with diplomats in Harare this Thursday, President Emmerson Mnangagwa reaffirmed Harare's position on global geopolitics and multilateralism as it vies for the seat on this global body, and this message was received and well endorsed.
Your Excellency, would also like to commend you for Zimbabwe's candidature to the United Nations Security Council for a non-permanent seat for the period 2027-2028, and we are confident that Zimbabwe will be elected and advocate for global peace and security.
Kenya is supporting Zimbabwe's candidature to the non-permanent seat of the UN Security Council. And it is something he highlighted, but we see of importance that this will be very critical for Africa to be represented by this country and by His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa on the UN Security Council.
Brazil, Zimbabwe's bilateral relations, they are at a very excellent level, and we are firmly supporting Zimbabwe's candidacy to the UN Security Council.
For Jamaica and France, advancing trade relations is also critical.
We very welcome the encouragement of His Excellency to foster trade between Zimbabwe and the European Union and France especially. We think that it's a very good orientation that we support very much.
Zimbabwe and Jamaica share deep roots in terms of our historical and cultural heritage. I was very pleased to hear the President speak about Zimbabwe becoming even more assertive in the international sphere. I think this is a good thing. It's a good moment for the South.
Just this Wednesday, Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Professor Eamon Murwira concluded a strategic visit to the Pacific region seeking support for Zimbabwe's bid to the United Nations Security Council. As he addressed the diplomats, Professor Murwira maintained that for Harare, seeking a mutually beneficial relations that protects the dignity and prosperity of the Zimbabwean people is a key cornerstone of the foreign relations doctrine.
Guided by our foreign relations and international trade policy and the doctrine of foreign relations and international cooperation, we pursue trade as a sustainable instrument of peace. In this regard, Zimbabwe presents itself as an equal, stable, and dependable partner, promoting peaceful, dignified, and beneficial partnerships, leveraging on trade.
From politics to economics and trade, sports and tourism, Zimbabwe is advancing engagements with the community of nations in a way that spurs the development not only for Zimbabwe but also for the region, SADC, COMESA, the African Union as well as the United Nations, deeply rooted in the spirit of building a world united in peace, security and multilateralism. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Our next port of call takes us to the Midlands province, where Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga has been charmed by the industrialization strides being recorded in Kwekwe, which are in line with the dictates of the National Development Strategy 2. Our Bureau Chief for the Midlands, Tafara Chikumira, filed the following report.
Vice President retired General Dr. Constantino Chiwenga this Thursday visited 4 manufacturing firms in Kwekwe district as part of his familiarization tour of mining and industrial firms in the Midlands province. At Global Union Alloys, the Vice President was appraised on how the ferrochrome producing firm has managed to establish 5 blast furnaces, while at Cebu Chemicals, he was briefed on how the company intends to become operational by May this year.
Chrome is now one of the critical and strategic minerals so much in demand. In there, we have discussed with the company that we need now to get to the highest beneficiation and value addition of that, not just to make high carbon ferrochrome and then export it just like that. We need now to further beneficiate. We are here at Cebu. The government has taken a bold move through Mtapa Fund to inject funds. And this is why now you see there is the cleanup which is going up and the maintenance works that are going on here.
At Intrachem, the Vice President was briefed on how the company has expanded its product range, while at Zimchem, he got appraisal on how the chemical producing company has grown its export market.
We have been briefed of so many things that Zimchem can do. Their production cut across all the industries. We want them to develop these products and also to export.
The industrialization developments are being experienced in Kwekwe district help in growing the country's gross domestic product GDP at a time the country is angling to attain an upper middle income economy by 2030. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
The late national hero, Brigadier General retired Jonathan Hungwe, will be buried at the National Heroes Acre in Harare this Friday. The people of Masvingo province had a chance to bid farewell as his body was taken to his rural home in Mwenezi district this Thursday.
Brigadier General retired Hungwe's kinsmen bade farewell to the gallant son at a ceremony held at his farm here in Rutenga this Thursday, with the church highlighting that he was more than just a military man, but also a devoted Christian.
General Munu Aichkamari, to me, was a father, but also his humility.
Munu anga aine respect, yanga isingaendera nezera ravanga vainaro. Vanga vari baba vakuru asi vairespecta chero mutungamiriri ari mudiki wekereke.
Munhu aitikurudzira, munhu aifarira kunamata. The ZANU-PF party says they have lost a dedicated cadre, while the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira, who was represented by a director in his office, said that Masvingo province has been left poorer.
Discipline.
He was a loyal, patriotic and committed cadre who dedicated his life to the independence, freedom, democracy and sustainable development of our motherland, Zimbabwe.
His body has been taken to one commando barracks in Harare, where it will lie in state ahead of burial at the National Shrine tomorrow. Fungai Chachi, ZBC News, Rutenga.
Meanwhile, ZBC News can confirm that the body of National Hero Brigadier General retired Jonathan Hungwe is now in Harare ahead of burial this Friday. The body arrived from Wenezi, Masrengo province late afternoon and is lying in state at the Charles Gumbo Barracks. Meanwhile, government has rallied public office bearers to deliver quality service and ensure the country attains an upper middle income society by 2030. This came out during a performance contracts validation workshop held in Mutare this Wednesday.
The workshop came as a critical milestone in the ongoing government efforts to strengthen performance management and delivery of quality service by the public sector as the country journeys towards the attainment of the national vision of a prosperous and empowered upper middle income society by 2030.
In view of the foregoing, and for government to continue winning public support, it must also be operated with the systems, processes, and structures characterized by zero bureaucracy, fewer unnecessary laws, administrative inefficiencies, faster decision-making, and better public service delivery.
Dr. Rushwaya also made it clear that the validation process is meant to align public sector performance to people's needs.
What we are doing here is not in vain. Our combined actions as the public sector, led by our astute and visionary leaders, are on transforming the economy and livelihoods of the people, as evidenced by the remarkable achievements registered in different sectors of the economy to date.
Other government leaders highlighted the importance of performance management systems towards the realization of national development goals.
This is a serious undertaking to ensure that our performance management system becomes a vehicle towards the realization of national development goals.
We are grateful that since the coming in of the Second Republic, ably led by His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Damzo Mnangagwa, the performance contracting system, backed by expert consultant reviewers, is a dependable and reliable performance accountability mechanism that has allowed us to post significant results here in Manicaland province.
The validation workshop brought together deputy chief secretaries, chairpersons of independent commissions, State University Council members, and heads of ministries, among others.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has brought relief to an Epworth family that is caring for 9 children with cerebral palsy after donating wheelchairs, toiletries, as well as groceries to them.
The song Kudakwashe by the late James Chimombe captures the situation these siblings face. Caring for one child with a disability is challenging, let alone 2 or 3 with cerebral palsy. This is the reality for an Epworth family of 4 sisters, each grappling with the demands of caring for multiple children with cerebral palsy. Gogomo Jidziwa's daughters, Christine, Modesta, Tsitsi, and Abigail, are shouldering the burden of caring for more than one child with disabilities each. However, in a moment that will be etched in their memories forever, the 9 children with cerebral palsy were handed a lifeline by the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. The joyous occasion saw Dr. Mnangagwa gifting the family 9 wheelchairs, unlocking a world of possibilities for the children who had been confined to their mother's laps and backs for far too long. They were also gifted with blankets, clothes, groceries, and toiletries. The scene was nothing short of emotional as the First Lady arrived at the family's humble homestead in Epworth, bearing gifts of hope and independence. The mothers of the 9 children watched as their children aged between 3 and 20 were fitted with their brand new wheelchairs by the First Lady. 3 of the 4 sisters have experienced divorce attributed to their children's conditions. Despite remarrying, they faced the same challenge of having children born with cerebral palsy. The four women shared their harrowing experiences of raising children with disabilities. Their stories tell of immense emotional strain, societal stigma, and of the relentless demands of caregiving. However, amidst the struggles, the sisters stand united, supporting one another through the trials of caring for their children with cerebral palsy. Their resilience and love for their children shine through, a testament to the strength of family bonds. They narrated their tales to the First Lady, who was visibly touched by their plight.
Zvimwe zvakungodii zvingofamba zvakadaro uyu akanga ane disability akabva ashaikawo nyaradzi baba wake vanogara kumbaro asi akushaya havo murombo asi kana vakaona kahembe kemwana vanoba tete vacho vanondipawo nekuti ndakapfeka mwana wokutanga ikoko anga achifamba akabva afa anotusi aifamba ndobva ndanobereka uyu ndiye akazoita problem ikoko ndafamba nababa ivo ini ndiri apa ivo ari apa ndaisvikonzi baba mhosva iri kubata vana kuti wana akafa ndobva tazoita uyu nyaradzi tikanzi mhosva iyi iri kumba kwaamai apa ngavafambe neverudzi rwavo. Ndakaenda kuna baba ikoko vanova ndovatinoti baba wasara mukoma baba wedu wani ndikati baba tauya nyaya ndainga pano Nyamuziwa pandeye kuti mhuri yenyu muri kuziva zvairi vazukuru venyu namunini haachisipo tati tichikumbirawo kuti kana muchikwanisa tifambe nemi tiri pamwe chete munzwewo zvinhu uri kudetsa patiri nekuti vana venyu hatina rugara vakati bora ini zvandakutaura ndezvekuti ndini baba pano imimi zvandiri baba hamundimhanyire kuti mundiudze zvekuita ini zvamataura ndazvinzwa asi zvandichaita ndichakufonera inini mudzokerai ndichakufonerai muzouya moita sei ndozouya ndinotora maprofita angu ouya pano pamba pangu tikati alright baba zvakanaka ndobva tabva pai zvakanaka bva tauya takatarisira kuti baba wachatifonerawo kuti uyai vana vangu tiite sei tifambe baba nanhasi havatobvunzikana vazukuru vavo kuti vazukuru vangu vari sei.
Gogomu Zvidziwa, mother to the four sisters, recounted their children's ordeal to Mother Zimbabwe, attributing their misfortunes to spiritual forces. The mother of the nation had heart-to-heart discussions with the family, during which she inclined an ear to their challenges. She offered them words of comfort and encouragement.
Kugara kwakadai nechiitiko chakadai kaishoma mudzimhuri dzedu tichiona vana vachibuda vakadai chero nababa vakasiyana zvinomba zvichidzoka zvakadaro saka samai ndabatikanawo nazvo kuti ngendifambe ndinoona kuti chimiro chakadai ini mwana mai nambuya muri kuzvitora sei vavakidzani vari kuti kudii varume vakatiwana ava vari kutiwo futi kudii.
After the First Lady handed over the wheelchairs, groceries and toiletries to the family, they expressed their gratitude.
Amai havatiti vanyasha chichemo chedu nekuti inini magariro andoita so nevana vangu havakwanise kufamba mvura inogona kutouya ikatovanaya varipo ipapo kuti ndifambe navo ndandisingakwanisi kana kufamba navo nekuti vanhu vacho vakura kana kubereka chaiko chaiko zvinhu zvanga zvichinetsa.
Takasvitsawo chichemo chedu kuna mai pasina nguva mai vakatambirawo chichemo chedu pasina nguva mai vauyawo vakatibatsirawo so ndiri kungotenda kuna mai.
Ndiri kutenda amai vedu amai Mnangagwa vane rudo amai vedu vatiuya nhasi mukati memusha uno vapa vana vedu mawiricheya vapa chikafu sechichemo chatakapa kwavari saka vauya vakationa vakatinyaradza vakatidzidzisa machengetere evana vedu kushinga kuchengeta vana vedu.
Tinotendawo mama vatisira chikafu magumbeze mauricheya vauya mama tikavaudza zvichemo zvedu vakatinyararidza vakatipa mashoko erushingiso.
Dr. Mnangagwa's act of kindness brought a new lease of life to the family who had been struggling to cope with the demands of caring for their 9 children with cerebral palsy. The First Lady's visit was a reminder that even in the darkest moments, kindness and compassion can be a powerful catalyst for change. As the children took their first spins in their new wheelchairs, laughter and screams of delight filled the air. It was indeed a moment of pure joy. The assistance from Dr. Mnangagwa is a testament to her commitment to promoting inclusivity and supporting vulnerable members of the society. Leighton Sanyera, ZBC News, Epworth.
A truly touching story, and it's wonderful that the First Lady came through to help. In other news, government says the media must adapt to the ever-changing trends in the sector through digitizing and modernizing operations to deliver their mandate effectively. This was said by the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable James Soda, when he toured the Zim Papers Group in Harare this Thursday.
In a bid to get a better insight on the operations within the media industry in Zimbabwe, Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable James Soda, undertook a tour within the Zim Papers Group this Thursday. Speaking to journalists after the tour, Honorable James Soda indicated that there is need for the media industry to adapt to the ever-changing trends to ensure that they give accurate information.
I'm happy with the way that they are covering the whole nation in terms of ensuring that no one and no place is left behind. There are various print news which goes to various places, their radio, and we will continue to do much more as government to ensure that they are assisted, especially ensuring that the signal distribution is fair throughout the whole country. We must always ensure that we are moving with the times, digitizing and ensuring that we are ethical in our conduct of our activities. We have the responsibility to inform the public and to educate the public, but the news must not be contaminated.
Zim Papers Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. William Chikoto, called for greater cooperation between Zim Papers and Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation to ensure they achieve the national aspirations.
We have just completed a digital transformation project, so we're able to show him the new newsroom. We are also able to show him our television studios, and he spoke at length how, as an industry, we should collaborate, that Zim Papers and ZBC are one family, that we need to explore ways of collaborating, that we should not be competing, but we should be working as one team.
The familiarization tour took the minister to the newsroom, to the radio studios, as well as the television studios, including the printing press. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, speaking of trends, we're proud to say that as a national broadcaster, we are online as well. Now, in other news, Matobo District is set to benefit from hosting this year's independence celebrations, with government establishing 40 village business units across the district.
Beyond the one-day national event, the National Independence Celebrations to be held on the 18th of April, government has embarked on life-changing projects that have been termed legacy projects. And of those legacy projects is the establishment of 40 village business units across Matobo District. And one of those village business units has been established here at Mayacha Primary School, with the school saying that it transformed this school.
Abantwana aba disadvantaged, we will propose ukuthi be paid for. We pick just a few, we pay for the fees.
Engadi la isitshintshile kakhulu vele besingalayi. Because le ngadi encane ngale ade kuncane lesayenza vele ngohlelo lona lwe-independence.
The Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. Inchas Masuga, who toured the Independence Legacy projects this Thursday, said government is committed to transforming rural agriculture into profitable and sustainable agro-businesses.
We have done 69 wet balls in this district. 46, unfortunately, are dry. We would like to establish at least 40 village business units to become operational by the 17th of April, so that in these villages we provide water as a constitutional right, but water as an economic enabler around which village business companies can be formed. And these business units, the one here, is able to generate on this half hectare $9,000 every 3 months. So these are the legacy projects that we are living here beyond the usual Intwasa that we do for these communities.
As part of Independence Legacy projects, government is constructing 40 science and computer laboratories across Matabeleland South Province, 40 village business units across Matobo District, Felabusi Registry, Kwanda Mapisa Road, Bulawayo Case Highway, Plumtree Maitengwe Road, and Joshua Nkomo Vocational Training Center. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Mapisa.
Banned is not bad for lithium in Zimbabwe. The recent ban of raw mineral exports, including lithium concentrate, is expected to benefit Zimbabwe in the medium to long term. Now, this comes at a time when global lithium prices have increased by more than 20% in response to Zimbabwe's ban that has seen other African economies following suit.
Zimbabwe's mining sector contributes over 70% of the country's export earnings on a yearly basis. However, the figure could be even higher if the country exports processed mineral commodities. We spoke to the Chamber of Mines president, Mr. John Musekiwa, on what can be done in terms of ensuring that the mining companies can also set up plants that process raw mineral commodities into finished goods for the benefit of the country.
Potential benefits of beneficiation and value addition in Zimbabwe include higher export earnings, selling refined products, e.g. refined gold, ferrochrome, polished diamonds, earns more than exporting or raw ore. Beneficiation creates employment across the value chain.
Responding to questions of whether the mining industry has the capacity to invest in machinery as well as equipment in order to fulfill the government's aspirations, the Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Dr. Paulette Kambamura, said the decision was taken after realization that the mining industry has the capacity to do so.
Zimbabwe supplies 10% of the global demand for lithium, and also 19% of China's requirements for lithium. We need to benefit considerably from our mineral resource, and we need also to have a voice that can be heard, especially in the energy transition initiative. So we want to attract other companies, other investors, quality investors, of course, who will come, set base in the country, and manufacture lithium products. Talk of solar panels, talk of lithium batteries, and so forth.
The ban on raw mineral exports and lithium concentrates is also expected to benefit Zimbabwe in light of the firming global commodity prices. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
One might say that Destination Zimbabwe at the moment is irresistible. Zimbabwe is set to host the headquarters of the Intra-Africa Trade Fair Company in another endorsement for Destination Zimbabwe, where the construction of the Afrixim Bank Africa Trade Center is nearing completion. Africa's premier trade and investment event, the Intra-African Trade Fair, transitioned into an independent, permanent African institution meant to accelerate Africa's economic integration. Zimbabwe emerged winner from all the formal bids for hosting the headquarters of the IATFCO that were received from Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. Announcing the selection of Zimbabwe during the 2025 Intra-African Trade Fair in Algeria, Chairman of the IATF Advisory Council and former President of Nigeria, His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, explained why Zimbabwe was competitively selected for its conferencing facilities as one of the key factors, its robust air connectivity and accommodation capacity. The IATF is a platform for businesses to showcase their goods and services to visitors and buyers while exploring opportunities and exchanging information. It aims to tap into opportunities from AFCFTA single market of over 1.4 billion people and GDP of over 3.5 trillion United States dollars. The event is attended by more than 112,000 visitors from over 130 countries, with the 2025 edition welcoming more than 2,000 exhibitors. Well, where would you want to be in Zimbabwe? You definitely want to be here on the main news brought to you by ZBC. Now, if you want to catch us online, you can find us on our website. It's www.zbcnews.co.zw. And the magic word for social media is ZBC News Online. That is our handle across our X platforms, across Facebook, and across our YouTube channels. Now, stories that you can still expect in the bulletin are: police investigation points to inside job in Bulawayo Mukuru robbery. And in sport, Bulawayo Giants collide as Castle Lager PSL returns this weekend. That and more in sports. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us.
Invitation of public comments on the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment Number 3 Bill, HB1 of 2026. Section 328, Paragraph 4 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that immediately after the Speaker has given notice of a constitutional bill in terms of subsection 3, Parliament must invite members of the public to express their views on the proposed bill in public meetings and through written submissions, and must convene meetings and provide facilities to enable the public to do so. In compliance with this peremptory constitutional provision, and as part of public consultations meant to enhance participatory democracy, Parliament of Zimbabwe is inviting comments on the Constitution of Zimbabwe Number 3 Bill, HB1 of 2026, for consideration by the relevant committees. Comments must be submitted to the following email address: bills@pauzim.gov.zw or physically at Parliament Building, Mount Hamden, Harare. Public hearings on this bill will be announced in due course on days to be advised. For any clarification on the process, you may get in touch with the Acting Deputy Clerk of Parliament on email address nyawo@pauzim.gov.zw.
Internationally acclaimed Cheetos Puffs and Cheetos Rings are now available nationwide in 5 new flavors. You just can't stop at one.
Every day, Africa's financial institutions protect something priceless: trust. Trust to move money safely, keep economies running, and support customers whenever they need it. But the landscape is shifting. Security threats are rising, regulations are tougher, and customers' expectations are higher. Downtime is simply not an option. That's why financial institutions need infrastructure that is secure, resilient, and built to scale. Liquid Intelligent Technologies powers Africa's financial sector to operate safely, efficiently, and without interruption. From branches to data centers and the cloud, we deliver mission-critical connectivity with 24/7 operations that detect threats early. With world-class data centers and continent-wide disaster recovery, Liquid keeps services online at all times. Our network drives fast, secure transactions so banks and fintechs can serve customers instantly. We build the digital foundation for Africa's financial future.
Thank you for staying with us after the break. Our first story is possibly a mystery that is one step closer to being solved. Now, the Zimbabwe Republic Police says preliminary investigations into the armed robbery at Mukuru Money Transfer Agency in Bulawayo this Wednesday points to an inside job.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police is still investigating details of the raid that was carried out here at the Mukuru branch. We saw robbers getting away with over 70,000 United States dollars as well as 500,000 rands. The unknown suspects who are still at large managed to get away with the CCTV footage and also disabled the alarm system.
It is clear that these suspects had inside information. These criminals had received information from someone, possibly within the financial services sector, at the outlet boss, the manner and the form in which this robbery occurred. Clearly shows that these guys have been alerted. Because just imagine the target an employee who had access, who had keys to the complex, and then started attacking her, forcing her to open offices, meaning to say everything had been pre-planned. But I want to assure you, the Zimbabwe Public Police is conducting comprehensive investigation, and very soon we'll be able to get to the bottom of what actually transpired. But obviously, the issue of leakage of information is taking center stage.
As the search for answers continues, there are conversations as to what really has gone wrong in Bulawayo, as it has turned into a city marred with bank robberies.
Hayi kubuhlungu kusasiphathi kuhle lokho kubi. Kubi akathi kungenziwa cebo bani kathi kuze kuvalelwe sibili abantu laba bangena behlomile.
Ayikho right shem, ayikho right. Kumele kuthathwe action kubonakala ukuthi uhlupho lukho ngoba la abancinyana abakhula sebeyakhula bekwazi ukuthi lapha kuyantshontshwa kulalutho olwenzakalayo.
Kuyasimangalisa, kuyasisabisa because mina ngiyakwazi lokho kwe4 million leyana eyatshontshwayo. So manqali sithi la lapha kumkhulu lakho kutshontshwe we are no longer safe then in Bulawayo.
This is the second high-profile robbery to occur here in the city, following the $4 million United States dollar bank robbery that occurred here in Bulawayo in 2024. Lisa Correa, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Government has reiterated that there is no going back on the road rehabilitation program, with the upgrading of the Harare-Churundu highway set to be expedited.
In a move aimed at promoting development and enhancing connectivity, government is on a massive road infrastructure rehabilitation program. During the Senate question and answer session this Thursday, legislators queried the pace of the rehabilitation works on the Harare-Churundu highway and the roads which lead to Mapisa in Matabeleland South Province, the venue of this year's independence celebrations. The responsible minister, Honorable Felix Mona, was available to respond.
In terms of rehabilitation using our own resources. But for the bigger picture, we are working on a triple P arrangement where we are going to be doing the road from Karoli side to Binga and from Binga to Cross Dente. So I'm sure this will be a thing of the past now, if we go through that. But currently we are working with RDC to make sure that some of the bigger roads are traffic. So this is something that's ongoing. But I understand that for years our roads were neglected. It will take time to make sure that all our roads are traffic.
Government also reassured the nation of fuel stability, saying the country has sufficient stocks to last for the next 3 months.
Panyaya yemutengo sehurumende tinenge tichiona kuti mitengo yekunze inokwira zvakadini, ikakwira kusvika patinoona kuti apa zvinogona kurwadza vanotenga mafuta.
The assurance comes after the Zimbabwe Energy Regulatory Authority announced a fuel price adjustment following geopolitical tension-induced price increases on the international market. The safety of Zimbabweans living outside the country also came up for debate during the session. This comes on the back of the US and Israel's conflict with Iran, which has led to airstrikes in several countries in the Middle East. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The tobacco industry has grown tremendously over the years to attract local as well as international players, with the launch of the Tobacco Industry Transformation Strategy set to spur more impactful growth for the sector.
Since the year 2017, the tobacco industry has grown by an average of 88%. From the 198 million kilograms produced in that year, it has risen to more than 355 million kilograms as of the year 2025, marking a significant growth of the tobacco industry. This year, the industry is also set to earn another milestone, as projections will even see volumes exceeding 400 million kilograms.
Crop size continues to grow. We've been set a target of 500 million by the year 2030. I think we will achieve that. The big thing that our government are looking for is value add. You know, the Tobacco Value Transformation Plan. It's beginning to happen. As you know, Cataract Processors have built a gigantic plant, 40,000 square meters.
The sector is actually growing, and we're proud to be bringing value to add to the value chain. This season, as you've heard, the expected output has grown. We're expecting at least around 400 million kgs.
Zambia and Malawi are taking a leaf from Zimbabwe's impressive transformation of its tobacco industry, which has steadily grown over the years.
At Zambia, we projected 80 million as per a 5-year strategic plan. Last year, 2025 marketing season, we closed at 72 million kgs. This year we revised and we have gone to 120 million. So already in the 5-year we projected, we've already done that in 2 years, over and above. Why? Because of, I think, the harmonization as well as the cross-fertilization of capacity and expertise that we have had with Zimbabwe.
You've started very well. $4.6 per kilogram, which is very, very impressive.
The Tobacco Transformation Plan too strikes the right chord for farmers who for years have been complaining about low prices at contract and auction floors. Hence, the encouragement for local players to value-add tobacco and export finished product is indeed the right move to ensure that farmers get maximum prices for their products.
We want to acknowledge the efforts of the government, the farmers, and all stakeholders to make sure that we have the tobacco transformation strategy too. We should be benefiting from the incremental value of our crop.
While farmers have applauded the addition of auction floors in Harare, they've called upon the TIMB to also decentralize auction floors in a similar fashion like contract floors to increase competition.
Nekuwandudzwa kuri kuitwa misika tiri kubatsirikana nekuti tinenge tisina ndewandingati uwandu hwekumanikidzirana uya
papo tinopatenda zvikuru because otherwise zvinogona kuzotibatsira kuti mapurice agokwira nokuwanda kwema-auction floors.
The ambition by government to create a $7 billion tobacco industry by the year 2030 is within sight, courtesy of the Tobacco Industry Value Chain Transformation Plan, which was launched by government this Wednesday. And the tobacco industry is one which is set to drive the country's economic growth and development over the next 5 years in order to attain an upper middle income society by the year 2030. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's take a look across our borders in international news. Massive rallies in Iranian cities of Shiraz, Kerman, Kavar, and Isfahan this Thursday mourned those killed in the U.S.-Israeli strikes that began on the 28th of February.
A footage shows huge crowds attending funerals, with some participants dressed in black, carrying Iranian flags, images of the supreme leader, along with various banners. Early on Wednesday, the Iranian Red Cross announced that the U.S. and Israeli air raids have killed over 1,000 people so far. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says the actions of the U.S. and Israel were done without consulting allies.
There's a distinction between the offensive actions that were taken and are being taken by the United States and Israel, that were taken by them without consultation with Canada, with other allies, and we're not party to those actions.
Meanwhile, Professor of Political Studies at the University of Tehran, Fouad Izadi, says the United States never seriously pursued diplomacy, but rather entered talks with Iran without good faith and with the long-lasting aim of toppling its government.
The United States attacked Iran 2 times in the middle of negotiations. The U.S. wants to change Iran's government. This is what Trump said on the first day of attacks. This is what Netanyahu said on the first day of attacks. Talking is, I'm talking to you, but if you want to have an agreement, you are not going to have an agreement with this U.S. administration because they want to kill you.
The United Arab Emirates has reiterated calls for dialogue with its Minister of State for International Cooperation, Reem al-Hashimi, affirming the country's commitment to ensuring regional peace, stability and security through dialogue and responsible diplomacy.
Main News takes a break, but we'll be back after that. Do stay with us.
At CBZ Bank, we understand the unique challenges and needs of those in the mining sector. So we offer a comprehensive suite of financial services tailored specifically for this sector. Our lease finance scheme lets you easily acquire heavy mining equipment without breaking the bank. And with value chain financing, we help streamline your operations by providing funds for input suppliers and buyers within your supply chain. Need extra cash flow? Our overdraft facilities are here to help bridge any gaps in capital while you wait on payments from clients or investors. But that's not all. We also provide insurance services to protect against unexpected events that could disrupt your business, risk advisory and financial advisory services to ensure wise investments and strategic planning. CBZ Bank is committed to helping you succeed in the dynamic mining world. Trust us to be your partner every step of the way. CBZ Bank, partners for success.
That's right, internationally acclaimed Cheetos Puffs and Cheetos Rings are now available nationwide in 5 new flavors. You just can't stop at one.
Some things don't arrive, they've always been. Not for a day, for all of time. Until quietly something shifts. Moving from someday to now. Women are not honored in time, they're woven through it. Shaping every story, every voice, every breath. We are because she is, and because tomorrow they will be.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Our first port of call after the break is to Beitbridge, where the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 Bill of 2026 continues to gain traction with the support of the Beitbridge community, adding its voice to the proposed law. Now, our reporter Aifeli Mudau spoke to some people in Beitbridge. Let's hear what they had to say.
Amendment Bill Number 3 asiri iko thusa kauri mingwa iko ba yono wa minji asiri so ibowa ichiboseva chelede nikosivesisa iko seva chelede uri pala rari chiboita 5 years then apa rinowana 14 years 5 years wari times 3 koita 15 apa rari 7 years times 2 rikova ronova ka 15 years rikova richivovhota ruviri instead yavhota ruraru.
Isusu vanhu vemuBedbridge tiri kuti aiwa its okay kuti president vasvike 2030 development iri kuitwa tiri kuiona munhu wese ari kuiona maroads edu Bedbridge Chirundu wamukaka currency stability chaiyo ndoora mazigi but mazigi angu ndikamapiwa arotase akutenga seBedbridge mayouth tiri kutosembesa bill mudhara.
Amendment bill number 3 ndiri kuisapota nekuti president kubva zvawapinda tiri kuone mabasa evaita muno muBedbridge tine road Bedbridge road masvingo Harare yagadzirwa napresident, touya tine border rakagadzirwa napresident, touya muno tine Zimura village yagadzirwa napresident, touya tine fire station yagadzirwa napresident. Saka inini amendment bill number 3 ndiri kuisapota nekuti president tikawape mukana tiri kuona Zimbabwe chiende pachimwe chidanho.
In terms of accountability, when a president is elected in parliament, it gives the parliamentarians enough power to be able to champion the cause which the people would have sent them to do.
Up next, we take a look at business. Now, Zimbabwe's manufacturing industry has been identified as a key opportunity for the country to grow in terms of its GDP, and has identified investments in new machinery as a key priority for production in this area.
Captains of Industry and Commerce this Thursday held discussions with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor Dr. John Mushayawanu to discuss the impact of the 2026 monetary policy statement as well as the current stable economic conditions on operations. Some of the issues that were also discussed include available opportunities, the willing buyer, willing seller, foreign exchange market impact in terms of sustaining industry requirements.
What we sought to do in our dialogue with the governor today was really to get assurances from the governor on, number one, the durability of the stability that we are experiencing, and number two, the credibility of his monetary policy, and some assurances on policy stability going forward. And the governor was able to deliver that.
Now that stability has been achieved, what's the next step for Zimbabwe's economy in light of geopolitical tensions?
Fuel prices, yes, we are seeing they are going up, but also we are likely to see an uptick in the price of our commodities, especially gold, in the light of this conflict. As the central bank will continue to walk the talk on prudent monetary policies.
Going forward, engagements involving government and the manufacturing sector are being cited as important in ensuring that the sector remains resilient.
We've been able to enjoy a sustained decrease in inflation over the past 1.5 years, and we've also been able to register an increase in investment. We expect to have more serious companies coming even to invest in this economy, and the future looks very bright.
This year, Zimbabwe's manufacturing industry capacity utilization is expected to reach over 60%, in line with the country's growth forecast at 5%. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
We take a break from main news now, but we'll be back with more sports news. Stay with us.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is getting better and better and better.
All in HD.
It just makes no sense.
Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
going to talk about soccer, we're going to talk about cricket, but first, talk about cricket. Zimbabwe's Lady Chevrons enjoyed a tough start to a historic International Cricket Council Women's Championship campaign after suffering a heavy 108-run defeat on the first one-day international in Dunedin this Thursday against New Zealand. Well, one thing you can be assured of is that the Lady Chevrons will continue to fight for the country. Now, let's talk about another fight that's on the horizon in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League. The Castle Lager Premier Soccer League roars into life this weekend with the first Bulawayo derby of the season on the cards as Giants Highlanders face returning rivals Bulawayo Chiefs at Barberfield Stadium on Sunday.
Bragging rights are at stake as the big boys of the City Highlanders have faced a stubborn returnees Bulawayo Chiefs. A lot has changed since the last two sides met before Chiefs were relegated, with Highlanders now well funded and under the guidance of former Warriors and Manchester City striker Benjani Mwariwari.
The preparation has been good, and these boys, they are responding so well, working hard. Playing against Bulawayo Chiefs is a local derby. That game talks for itself. Whoever is connected to Highlanders family, they know very well what we want in this game.
Fresh from a bonding camp in Botswana, Mwariwari is alive to the fact that a good start will restore confidence in the boys.
So far, we've got one injury, which is a defender, and we've signed one player from Zambia, a striker, Isaac, and two more signings from the Hyde Rock, which is a left back, and one more from Platinum.
Meanwhile, the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League gets underway this Friday with a newly promoted FC Hunters taking on last season's runners-up Moors at Rufaro Stadium. Hunters arrive in the top flight as something of an unknown quantity after changes in the club's administrative structure, with little information emerging about their transfer activity ahead of the new campaign. Their opponents, Moors, will be eager to begin the campaign strongly after finishing as runners-up in their debut campaign. It is a packed weekend, but the big one is set for Chahwanda Stadium, where New Boys Hard Rock face champions Scotland.
We're very curious to know who is your money on in this Castle Premier Soccer League season. Who's going to take it, or will Scotland repeat what they did last season? Well, one team that is preparing is former champions Caps United. Well, they have declared their intention to challenge for the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League title this season, with the club having signed over 10 players this season.
The Regents made their intentions clear during a Club Players kit unveiling ceremony held in Harare on Wednesday night. Caps United last lifted the title in 2016 with an expansive recruitment drive ahead of the new campaign, bringing in more than 10 players in their bid to assemble a competitive squad capable of matching their ambitions.
Caps United is ready for the season. You were not brought here by accident. You were chosen because you have got the talent, you have got the skill, and we saw that you have got the hunger to do more and to succeed. And also, we have seen that you have got a very strong mentality to fight and win the honors with Caps United.
The guest of honor, Deputy Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Honorable Emily Jesiah, challenged the club to go beyond its status as one of the country's biggest football brands.
Football is not merely recreation. It is an economic driver, a platform for youth empowerment, a vehicle for social inclusion, and a contributor to the creative and entertainment industries. Football generates employment directly and indirectly through clubs, media, merchandising, security services, vendors, and tourism. It keeps young people engaged positively, promoting healthy lifestyles and building character traits such as discipline, teamwork, and resilience.
Makepekepe have brought in players who have won at the league before, including goalkeeper Wallace Magalane from FC Platinum, defender Talen Chamboko, midfielders Richard Achire and McDonald Makue, as well as forwards Takunda Benura, who have all won at the league with Ngezi Platinum Stars. Despite a lot of depth within Makepekepe ranks, the club faces a major competition from teams like defending champions Scotland, who have also strengthened their championship winning squad and have undisputed quality. Chicken have also made their ambitions clear after bringing in a two-time winning coach Tundra Indiraya, while a new boys Hard Rock, FC Platinum and Simba Bora are also in contention. Lawrence Trisida, ZBC News, Harare.
Thank you.
Well, who will be singing a victory song at the end of this season? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, but the best we can do is give you a weather forecast in our weather report.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at some of the conditions that we had, we've got a bit of moisture drifting in from the southeast, and we're expecting a few heavy downpours as we get into Sunday. But for today, we had mostly cloudy conditions across much of the atmosphere, which gave rise to warm conditions because of moisture drifting in from the north into the interior of the country, resulting in warmer conditions and a scattered number of storms across board. We should have a slight lull as we get into Friday, but still localized downpours cannot be ruled out as we get into the weekend, especially over the southeastern parts of the country. But for yesterday, we had Hauna having 124, Nyakomba had 76, also in the eastern parts of the country, while Zindi had 73, Wawa 50, that's in Matabeleland North. We get into Friday, we're expecting just a slight decrease, but still those isolated showers cannot be ruled out, especially over the northern parts. As we get into Saturday and Sunday, we're expecting moisture to drift into the southeastern parts, where those yellow colors indicating a few downpours, which we expect in Mat South, Masvingo, as well as the Midlands. For Monday into Friday, we're expecting mild conditions across board, with those cloudy conditions still persisting across much of the country. It should be warmer over the south as we get into tomorrow, but it cools down on Sunday. We're expecting more of the cloudy conditions for Bulawayo. For tomorrow, we're expecting a maximum of 28, 27 on Saturday, but it cools down to 19 with those cloudy conditions persisting, whilst Matopo is projected to be also at 19 on Sunday, with more of those localized downpours in places. For Gwanda, expecting 21 with more cloudy conditions projected there as moisture is drifting in from the south, whilst Gweru falls to about 18 Monday, 26 and 25 for Friday and Saturday. Masvingo at 30 for tomorrow, 31 into Saturday, but it cools down to 21 as we get into Sunday with those downpours in places. Mutare also expecting a slight decline, whilst Nyanga is mostly at 19s for much of this period with a few downpours in places. 17 is our maximum for Sunday in Marondi, about 23 for both Friday and Saturday. For Harare, expecting maximum of 24 on Saturday and 19 on Sunday, whilst for Kadoma expecting 26 on Saturday, and it falls to 20 on Sunday as well. For Chinoi, for Victoria Falls, we're expecting 28 for the first few days and falls to 24, 21 our maximum for Lupane with both those cloudy conditions. At Colin Breeze, also over Bindra, we're expecting a maximum of 20 on Sunday, whilst Kariba has got 32 for both Friday and Saturday. Goes down to 26 on Sunday. With that, we wish you a pleasant evening. It's back to the news desk.
Well, thank you so much to the Met Department team. Perhaps they were sending me a message about the Castle Premier Soccer League. I saw a lot of blue, I saw a lot of green, a touch of white, a touch of black. Maybe those are the colors that we need to be looking at in the Premier Soccer League. But for now, that's all we have for you. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Arthur Sevens. A big thank you to our sign language desk and to the team behind the scenes as well. Until next time, God bless.